Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche pregame show brought to you by Coors Light and Bet365. Avs taking on the Montreal Canadiens tonight. Eric's favorite team of all time.
Yeah.
No secrets about it. Maybe not quite as bad as the Columbuses of the world, but Montreal isn't any good this year either. They're not a good team. They're a team the Avs should beat, even if it wasn't going for 10 straight wins. So, Justus Annunen in net tonight for Colorado after his extension today. Curious your guys' thoughts on that extension. Obviously, it's a 2-year thing. Is this legitimate belief in Annunen as the backup of the future? The price is obviously extremely cheap at a little over $800K. How do you guys feel about that deal?
I think it's pretty in line. And I know everybody's riding the wave right now because he's been so good. Last like month or so?
8-9 games now.
Yeah. But he just doesn't have a meaningful body of work. Like, he doesn't have like a big body of work to work from. So I think it's fine and it's variable. It doesn't cost them very much at the NHL level. Obviously, $833 is going to be really close to the minimum, if not the minimum next year.
Yeah, I don't actually know how much it goes up.
Yeah, so and for me, I thought the second year was the key there, because next year it is what it is. It's whatever. If he's the backup and he's in the NHL the entire year, great. But if he's in the NHL all of next season and he's a serviceable backup,
just got him for $800K for another
year. You have him at a huge discount. If he's more than that, you have him at a huge discount.
Yep.
And so that's, it's the second year that I thought was really the big win more than anything else. The rest of it is, good for him. I'm sure he liked the security of it. So I'm sure that was the appeal for him in this case.
That's the word I was going to use, security and then stability. He knows that, probably going to be the guy, right? Like he is now. And then you can work on your mental game for the next couple of years, and then, I'm sure his goal is to be a number one in the NHL, right? I mean, that should be the goal, and that's what you're hoping for as management, staff, coaches, right? So I think this is a great deal. This is awesome, and he's only going to get better, and he's only going to get more comfortable. So that was step number one, get it done, and it's awesome.
Speculating here, but a Finnish goalie with the Finnish goaltender coach probably doesn't hurt his want to continue being part of this organization.
And he's grown up here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's done well for 5 years since he's been drafted, right? Give and take. So I think it's important. His progression has been good, and his learning curve has been good, and it's finally paying off right now, right? Because he's playing well, and I mean, who knows? Like you said, who knows what he is? I mean, he could be more than a backup, and I do believe he's more than a backup. So.
Yeah, we'll see.
Again, I think you got those 2 years there, so some stability for the organization, for him, and job well done, and he gets rewarded, with the one-way. It's a big difference when you're a player and you're on a two-way, and then all of a sudden you get that one-way deal. It makes you, I don't want to say you're going to sit on your contract. What I'm saying is that you feel comfortable, like you've done the work, and you feel wanted, and it's just a big peace of mind. Getting a one-way deal is a big peace of mind for a player. Once you get out of those two-way deals, and not that it's always about money, but it is about money at some point. That's your livelihood, and that's what he does for a living. So I think it's important mentally.
And it gives the Avs a little bit of extra layer of cost certainty going into the summer, knowing that they either have their NHL backup or their let's be real, it should be their NHL backup.
Yeah.
Or their third goaltender at a certain price already. But
at absolute worst third goaltender.
I really he loses waiver status at the end of this year. He's played so well the second half.
He's
of the
either your
season.
backup or he's somebody else's backup.
That's what I'm saying. Like it just
No.
It seems unlikely to me that they would make that decision at this point.
This guy's never going through waivers. Not a chance.
I mean,
I'm talking about coming up here from 10 years from now. I don't know, but I'm telling you,
I'm just saying, man.
this September he's not.
I'm old enough to have lived through the Calvin Pickard thing, so I'm tempering
Just never know.
expectations.
Yeah.
Because Calvin Pickard was a really good backup for the Avs when he first got into the NHL too, and never came even close to repeating that in his career, and couldn't stay in the NHL. So, and then, what is it, like 7 or 8 years later or whatever, now he's back with the Oilers.
Hanging around, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just kind of what I'm saying. Like, I'm just kind of in a, what is with Justus Annunen right now. I hope he plays well tonight, and I hope he continues to play well. And, but in terms of trying to, he's all the people jumping on the bandwagon of like, he's definitely going to be their starter in 2 years when Georgiev leaves. It's like,
Just don't know. Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, if Georgiev wins the next 2 Stanley Cups,
Just keep Georgiev.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, do you not have a temptation to just keep that guy? Like, so that's it's great for Annunen, it's great for the Avs. Building in that little extra layer of security with the second year, I think, is just good work.
I completely agree. I think it's a great deal for the Avs side of it. The rest of the lineup tonight is the same as the other night, but specifically the same as the second half of the game. Jonathan Drouin getting the nod on that top line with Nichushkin dropping in with Mittelstadt on the second. Is this a solid lineup? We've talked a lot about how we wanted to see Rantanen next to Mittelstadt. Does dropping Nichushkin to that line also make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And once you just try some things out.
Yeah. Fair.
So, you've gotten a good deal of success out of Drouin, MacKinnon, and Rantanen as a trio this year. You haven't had any success, sustained success with any iteration of a second line. So,
Just give it a go, see what happens.
yeah, absolutely. And
Try some stuff, yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Fair enough. Let's try to figure out the 3 keys of the game. I don't have to try very hard because E has them right here. So
They're there, man. They're there. Number one, home dominance. Let's just keep being dominant at home. Control the matchups. Not that you're really caring about the matchups, but you can in a certain way. Meaning, like your top dogs against the Swiss cheese on the other side, right? You know what I mean? Where the holes are. So control the matchups, expose the holes in their lineup, and then feed off the energy. The crowd's been great. Like everybody's excited about this MacKinnon streak. Everybody's excited about the 10-game streak. Everybody's is in the building. They got something to watch for. I mean, we're sitting here, we're hoping like, when's Mac going to get that point?
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun, So feed off that stuff, Number 2, start on time. I mean, a lot of it has been, I think Bednar talked about it this morning at his presser. He's like, hey, listen, it's a weird stat, 25 games that you're coming back. But he goes, anywhere during a game you're going to fall behind or go ahead. It's a long night. 60 minutes is a long night. So but to fall like down by 4 goals is not what you want to do, obviously. So start on time tonight. Let's not fall behind and put them away early. This is a team that's going nowhere. I mean, they're not in the playoffs. They got their coach tonight back. St. Louis been away for personal reasons and on this road trip. And this is their 5th game of their road trip. This is the final pit stop before they go home. So, you know what? Start on time tonight. Give them a reason to fold, and things will be much easier. Which leads me to outwork your opponent. Just outwork them. You got all the talent in the world. Every shift tonight, every face-off, every assignment, just be on top of the guy next to you that you can outwork them, and you go from there. So you do that, should be an Avs victory, and we should be looking at 10 in a row.
a lot of should-bes.
That's right.
Got to turn into R, if you're asking me,
Yes.
on that front. This really should. Montreal, on the end of a ridiculous road trip here, it should be
Tough roadie.
Yeah, should be a tough one for them, really,
Yeah.
tonight, more than anything. A team that the Avs should beat on their best night, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
But Montreal in particular could have a tough one tonight. I want to have a little bit of an interesting conversation about the sloppiness that we've seen out of Colorado at times. And maybe more of a conversation about how they address it more than anything. Was watching the CHGO show the other day. They had a 4-goal comeback against San Jose that they won that game. Luke Richardson bag skated the team in the practice the day after.
Saw that.
All right.
We've talked a lot about how Jared Bednar's not a big fan of bag skates, doesn't really do that in Colorado.
Can't recall one time.
But is
Since
there...
the 48-point season, I can't recall him bag skating the team once.
But what's the vibe at practice like the day after that? Is it, hey, we did a great job to come back, no problems here, or is it not good enough, we need to lock in and focus on a couple of things?
Well, I think it's more like, if you nitpick that game, like Sidney Crosby did some Sidney Crosby shit too, right? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying the Avs played great, but there was another guy on the ice that was outstanding. He's one of the best players the last 20 years in the league, right? You know, he did some weird stuff that resulted in goals, and like, so you all of a sudden you're down. But I don't think it's a recipe you want to talk about, but I think you do feel proud in the dressing room, though, that you didn't give up, you didn't fold, you do feel proud. Yep. And then right away there's always one guy at the end that will say, but let's not make it a habit. You know what I mean, right? But it's some cool shit.
Too late for that. It's already a habit for the Avs this year.
So it's cool stuff, and then you're always in it, and I think it was cool for the new guys too, because I read Sean Walker saying, like, he says he's never been part of a team this good. You know what I mean? He goes, it's a privilege. This is crazy. You know what I mean? So I think there's a belief, and I think it's important because sometimes in playoffs, things don't go well sometimes. They don't go as planned. And even though you're playing well, you could be down 3-0. But, so those are good exercises to go through. And, again, you don't make it a habit. I'll be the older guy saying it now. But you do feel proud, though, when you do make those comebacks. It's fun.
Sure. By the way, if the Avs don't win 10 in a row, it's Eric's fault for shaving.
I know. I didn't mean to shave. I told the guys the story. It was by accident. It's a long story. By accident. All of a sudden, I had a...
It's not that long of a story. You just accidentally got it.
I know. I changed razors. My other one was like, whatever. I used a new one on the fly. Went like this. Then I had a big stripe down. And I was like... Oh,
I think you should have kept it, man. Having a racing stripe on your face.
This wide.
Like, yeah, that's a power move, brother.
It's pretty thick. My son, my youngest, never seen me without a beard. He was
shave a 0 into it, and then you have a 10. It's
I could have. Oh my god, I should have done that. The stripe here, and then put a 0 on this side. Like,
that'd have been awesome.
Didn't think about it. I just kind of freaked out. I was like, oh god, I'm committed to it now. Shoot. Whatever. I'll take. Tomorrow night I'll be back. It's fine.
Grows quick. All right. Got to get into it. You already know my answer to this, but who's going to eat? Your Circle K eaters for tonight's game. Eric, who you got on the list?
You know what? I'm going to go one of the new guys again. I'm going Duhaime. I just feel tonight he might have one of those games where he's productive on the score sheet, productive on the forecheck, productive on the PK. I feel he's going to be my Circle K eater of the night tonight. I feel good about that pick tonight.
We got one depth guy. AJ, who you got?
I left you guys the freaking red carpet.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we know whose yours is.
Yes.
Because it's
a home game. So.
It's a hard and fast rule. At this point, till that streak ends, it's MacKinnon. We get it.
Yep.
I'm going Val Nichushkin.
Right.
I think he's been a little quiet lately, and I think that the demotion is as much a reward to Jonathan Duran as it is a message to Val to, like, you got to pick it up a little, pal. Some of that two-way play really has not been there in the last week. So I think that a more consistent effort from him. He doesn't usually get into very extended stretches where he struggles.
Yep.
So, and especially on the power play, he's obviously that's where you have to look at him this year. It's where he's done the most of his damage. So,
but a guy who, even when he's not producing, has impact on games, and you haven't seen as much of that.
It's been a lot quieter recently. So I'm going with
good pick.
I'm going with Val.
Here for it. As Chad is mentioning, you can always go with the ex-players as well. But Drew and Lecky. And then you got to watch out for Newhook on the other end of that. Just saying. Goes both ways on that one. As already mentioned, mine is MacKinnon. I care significantly more about MacKinnon getting a point in this game than I do the Avs winning it. That's just a personal thing. I understand if you don't agree with me.
I care a little bit about them winning it tonight to get to that nice even 10 number.
I want them to win it too, but if you made me pick one, it's the point streak.
Same.
So.
Same.
It's just the coolest thing happening in hockey right now. This MacKinnon points chase against Gretzky on the home ice point streak. So, like already mentioned, I'm picking that every home game until it either ends or we get to the end of the season. One of the two. Should be fun. Also, he gets a couple more games and he takes the straight up point streak in Avs history, highest number. So that's a pretty cool one as well for MacKinnon.
We said we want MacKinnon to get to, let's get to like 36, 37 and make this like a real, let's get close to Gretz.
If he gets tonight, it's 35.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You get through this homestand and it's like,
got a chance. Those are our eaters for Circle K tonight. Make sure you eat at Circle K with fantastic snack deals every single game day. Get their Inner Circle rewards with the QR code on screen to download the app or go to circlek.com/inner circle to get in on it, including things like 25 cents off a gallon, your first 5 fill-ups, and more. As a team, Colorado is going through a pretty easy part of their schedule. Is there any concern that they might not be staying sharp as they turn the corner at the end of this road trip and go out and have to play some pretty good teams?
No, I think it's good. I think they went on the road, they came back, they got easier opponents. They won some big games last week on the road. I feel good where they're at. I feel good where their game is. I feel good where their lineup is. I feel good where their goaltending is. I feel good where special teams are. I think they feel good about it. I think it's nice to breathe a little bit, give the new guys a little bit of time to situate themselves off ice, and this is what it's going to be like the next 3 months, and and then this is where I'm living, this is where I'm at, and get the significant other in town, all that kind of stuff. So I do feel good, and then they get on the road a little bit next week again. Not too crazy, but come back and be ready for the dance. I feel good where they're at.
I feel pretty good about it, but it's also really encouraging to me that if you look in this 9-game winning streak, it's not like they're winning every game 5-2 and just running away with everything. Oh. There's been adversity. They've won multiple overtime games.
That's a good point.
They had to come back from 4 against Pittsburgh just a couple days ago. This is not like everything's just clicking right now.
No, that's a good point.
They've had to battle and grind through different styles of games. And yeah, they have dominated a couple of these games. Great. It would be great to do that again to a not very good Montreal team, but you never know.
I like it.
I mean,
you never know.
It's the NHL, and the Canadiens do have talent. Just don't lose to him tonight, please. You already lost to him once. Don't do it again.
It's funny you were saying about Chad talking about MacKinnon and Drouin and Newhook, and it's funny because both dressing rooms tonight, you're going to hear a lot of guys walk by, like guys are going to the bathroom or going to training room to grab stuff, and you walk by Drouin, it's like, that's all you hear, It's so funny. And then you'll hear the guy, oh, these guys took a big dump on you. And the same thing on the Montreal side. They're all going to give it to Newhook. It's funny. And that kind of gets you going a little bit because you're like, I know. They didn't want me. It's a weird feeling. It's a rejection feeling. And that's why you always see guys performing well. Because don't worry, you're reminded a lot in that locker room by your teammates that those guys didn't want you. So it's funny.
Well, I feel like Drew and Lecky got the better end of that stick.
That's right.
Ended up on a better team.
Yeah.
One of them got to stand the cup out of it.
Yeah.
It's true. But that was before the trade. Yeah. So, anyway, get into my bets. I'm taking the Avs to win in the first 10 minutes of the game. Get a good start. We've seen a few too many the Avs giving up the first goal of the game situations here.
It's not that many.
On the season, I know it's not that
well,
many.
I wrote about it in Studs and Duds the other day, and I say it feels like it's more just because it's happened 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
But in the 9-game winning streak,
it's only like 3 or 4 times.
It's 4. So it's 5-4.
Which is still too many.
They have scored the first goal more times than not, but it is interesting that it's like it feels so much worse than it is.
That's a fair point. Either way, don't do it tonight. Get one in the first 10. Taking Annunen over on saves. Keep him playing well. I'm a little afraid Montreal might not shoot the puck enough to get Annunen into this one, but if they do, I'm trusting him to make the saves. And then I did take the X-Player curse with Newhook to get at least a point. Interchangeable with Druid and MacKinnon if you want to go the X-Player curse route.
I have my spidey sense is telling me that it's going to be a lot of special teams tonight.
Penalty-ridden.
Certainly more than we've seen.
Well, the last couple of games have been really very
That's what I'm saying.
So
there have not been a lot lately, so it feels like we're due for a little bit of course correction with one of these 9 penalty games.
I was actually looking it up the other day. I do think Montreal takes some of the most penalties in the NHL. So
yeah, let's do this.
Buckle up for that. Could see some Druin power play action. When you do your betting, make sure you do it with Bet365, whether it's going with my bets or betting against me. Either way, Bet365 has you. Sign up with code DNVR365. Bet $5 on any NHL game. You get $150 in bonus bets when you do to bet on whatever you want, whether it's that. I saw the Florida Panthers are the betting favorites for the Stanley Cup now. Maybe go get good money value bet on the Avs then. Why not jump on it? Have a good time with it. Do it with Bet365 and the DNVR365 code. Of course, when you do gamble with them, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado, and if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. Any final thoughts? Any score predictions before we get out of here for this one?
Ooh. I'm going to go 5-2 good guys.
5-2 good guys. Are there any bad guys on the Avs?
No.
Depends on who you ask.
I like to root for an anti-hero sometimes, you know? I think a lot of people would have said Kadri was a bad guy.
Landeskog is viewed
Some
that
people
way.
do not like Landeskog. That's very true. I don't
A
know.
lot of people don't like Nichushkin for
that's fair.
reasons that aren't real.
Made up crimes. All right. Before I dig that hole any deeper, I think it's another like 4-1 angle. I don't think the Avs are giving up very many goals to this team. One to Newhook for my bet, and that's it.
I don't know. Caulfield on the power play, he's freaking deadly.
Nah, he's a bum.
On the power play.
Nice.
Chushkin's going to unhinge his jaw and swallow him.
That'd be cool. That would be
Live on TV.
That'd be an actual crime.
That would definitely be criminal material.
You could definitely dislike him after that.
I love how the Avs injury report just isn't even trying with Landeskog and O'Connor anymore.
And Francouz.
Yeah, they're just like, nah, nobody's hurt.
Like season injuries, they don't count.
All right, we are going to wrap up this pregame show. We do have a watch-along coming your way. Tune into that in a few minutes if that's your thing. Or at very least, tune in to postgame where we will break it all down for you. Win, lose, or draw, you name it. We'll talk to you in a few minutes.
We all silly like the mayor.